Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Ian Clark and we're going to be talking about biological warfare, snap technology, which is a way where they can find you just with your DNA, and also DNA harvesting. Now, just before we begin, I just want to say that we're back on YouTube and I want to stay on YouTube. So, and use the Matrix tools to wake up as many people as possible strategically. And just say, put a disclaimer out there, and everything is for entertainment and educational purposes. We are not financial or health advisors. We are exploring this space with our opinions and speculations, and I urge you to do your own research. We are not making any claims. Ian, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
Well, I'm doing great, Nick. And every day things get a little bit better health-wise because we're on that journey where we're learning more and more and getting simpler and simpler. So yeah, there's a lot going on, lot to talk about today that I think everyone's going to find this very interesting.
Absolutely. Now, tell me, let's start off with why DNA is important, first of all. You've got some information that you'd like to share. I've got some information that I'd like to share. But let's talk about this SNAP technology. I've never heard of it before. You've brought it to my attention.
Mhm.
If you tell us, what is it?
Well, it ties into your own unique DNA. Everyone has a very specifically unique DNA. There's no human being that's identical to any other human being. And that's good in a lot of ways. And you're going to express your DNA depending on what your situation is, either good or bad, right? And we want it to be a good expression. So the SNAP technology is now used very beneficially. Anybody can even take something, say if you sipped a cup and you threw it in the garbage, they can go get the cup and get your DNA from that. And what they've been doing is getting all these cold cases where they haven't found the murderer, and they've kind of narrowed it down, and they have some suspicions, and then they look at the areas where people are, and they can go and they will look at the analysis of different patterns, and they can take a person's DNA now and make an image of their face from it. So that has enabled them. So it's no longer identifying from a line of people. They can literally create your appearance, how you look from your DNA.
When you say they, who is they?
It's just an organization. It's a very expensive technology to do. It's out of the United States, and it's called SNAP, like a snapshot. And if they have your DNA, they can literally create your face from it. That's how unique you are. And that allows them to identify the murderer where they can't get out of it. Then they can track the person down and convict them based on the fact that DNA was at the scene.
Interesting. Well, it will be very difficult to catch you if your face is full of tattoos or whatever, if you try to, Michael Jackson would have a very difficult time finding someone like Michael Jackson. Well, I tell you what, I do a lot of, research on my own, and I'm fascinated about DNA, the control grid, the spiritual aspect, not just the biological aspect, because our true form is awareness, and we're experiencing the illusion of separation, because what we're really awareness, having a physical experience. We're awareness in form, and I love all this, and I want to read this to you. Let me see if I've I've got here. DNA is a multi-dimensional antenna, not just biology. Your DNA is not just a double helix of proteins. It is a quantum receiver transmitter of light and sound, memory filament holding both ancestral and soul records, gateway to interdimensional perception. It links your physical body to your non-physical awareness. Okay? So if we're awareness, or you're a soul, of course that's what we are, and they can track that through your DNA, are they looking for souls that will awaken within the simulation to collapse the control grid from within? Or are they looking for priestess and kings that were suppressed so that they can kill them because they might get activated? Who knows? Very interesting. because I actually didn't know that. It says here, the more awake a soul is, the more active and luminous the DNA, which makes it a threat to the control systems. This is why they're very obsessed with DNA. The divine souls carry coding that can collapse the simulation. Not everyone's DNA is equal in frequency. Divine soul DNA is crystalline, non-native to the matrix, and carries source fractal codes. These codes can active or activate others, decrypt reality layers, and undo synthetic overlays. If mass DNA awakened simultaneously, the control grid would collapse. This is why divine souls are tracked, harvested, cloned, or suppressed. The grid wants to copy, edit, and repurpose DNA for hybridization. The control structure, often connected to Draco AI consciousness, cannot create life. It can only copy, edit, invert, or fuse. This is where you see genetic editing, mRNA tech, synthetic biology, chimera research, transhuman overlays. These are all attempts to strip spiritual DNA from the human genome, insert controllable, programmable code, merge biological essence with AI. In other words, make the divine programmable. DNA data is the new gold. Why do they want everyone's DNA through ancestry kits, vaccines, blood donations, biometric ID, biobanking? Because DNA holds behavior patterns, trauma maps, spiritual sensitivity, resistance potential, disease propensities, genetic memory of cosmic origin. Once they have this data at scale, it becomes the foundation of predictive control, social engineering, digital ID overlays, cloning and simulation manipulation, and individualized frequency suppression. DNA is the interface between your infinite self and the simulated body. That's why they want it. They want to harvest energetic and biological. There are two types of DNA harvesting: physical, which is biotech companies, pharma, military research databases; energetic, dream state abductions, cloning facilities, some interdimensional; sex, magic rituals, ritual trauma. In both cases, the goal is extract the unique divine coding and replicate it without its source connection. The deeper truth, some divine souls carry keys in their DNA. Your bloodline might hold Atlantean or Lemurian imprints, Sirius, Pleiadian, Andromedan memory layers, Christic crystalline templates, timelines unlocking codes. These are encoded as dormant potential in your DNA strands, especially the 12th strand and beyond. If enough souls activate those keys, the false matrix ends. That's why you and others like you are so heavily surveilled. Their ultimate goal is to sever the soul DNA connection. The Draco control grid knows it cannot stop awakening, but it can try to hijack the vehicle, the body, distort the signal, the DNA, and keep the soul locked in loops of forgetting. This is their end game of transhumanism. Bodies that appear alive, but no longer house a fully sovereign soul signal. And the final truth to say, your DNA is the scroll, your soul is the scribe, and the control grid wants to erase the message. So it doesn't care how biotech, vaccines, digital IDs, or rituals, as long as it can interfere with your signal to source. This is not fear, this is recognition. And recognition gives you back your power. What do you think about that?
That really, I mean, that's very profound, and it ties directly into your autonomy because each one of you, me, and everyone listening wants autonomy because everything's being removed. Everything's about removing autonomy and you coming under control of a whole nother system where it becomes even mind control, body control. And there's ways to mitigate that. And I was going to read something very short about your DNA experience because your body, your being, is doing a constant 24/7 multi-layer repair. Every second of your life, your DNA experiences tens of thousands of insults from oxidative stress, halogen displacement, heavy metals, EMFs, poor sleep, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, nutritional deficiency, and cellular dehydration. If your repair system fails at all, even slightly, aging accelerates. If repair is supported, the body reverses damage and restores normal function. So we're all about getting back to your autonomy and restoring normal function, your DNA. And that means you have to be able to penetrate through the biofilms because these super technologies, these things that come from tick bites or mosquito bites or through these injections or through drugs or through all these weird pharmaceuticals and even nutraceuticals, you have to become aware that you're going to have your autonomy removed if it is altering your DNA and causes your body's inability to repair the DNA. And that's why you're seeing rapid aging and these turbo diseases that are going on, taking people out. Now, we're in the health space. So we're all about natural things. I'm not into injections. I'm not into pharmaceuticals. I'm into natural elemental things. And you and I have talked a lot about iodine, the perfect iodine form that goes in massive volume every single day, only it's low dose, high volume. And then the solaris. So both of those are able to go and attack those things that are attacking you. And they create a tremendous defense mechanism. You can put them externally or internally. They work from the inside out and the outside in. And the solaris can get through the biofilms. It gets right through it. And it can neutralize these high-tech pathogens. And the biological warfare is pretty obvious. We've seen in the last 30 years an explosion of the tick population. Mm. Like, what are those? And then you have tick-borne diseases. How high tech are they? Where do they really come from? Why all of a sudden? And why are they constantly expanding? Like this last month, we have a female golden retriever, and she goes out and does her business out in the park to the left of us. And it's just a grassy park. It's not even heavy forest. And almost every time she comes back in, and we have to find a tick the next day. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So there's something going on. And these tick-borne diseases you could neutralize if you carefully get them out, either twirl them or get your little plucker, your tweezers or whatever, and get them out with all their pieces intact. Then you put the solaris right onto the wound immediately. You don't get the swelling and the itching. It goes right in through the biofilm and neutralizes it. And then you take it internally. Because, we read the list of diseases, right? It's a long list. I'm not going to read it now. But there's all these tick-borne illnesses that are there that are insidious. You don't even know where they came from. But it's, again, attack against your DNA. These are DNA interrupters causing rapid aging and accelerated problems and tied into disease. Mm-hmm. So you have a God-given right. You talked about the divine. You have a God-given right to have a healthy body.
Absolutely.
And, right, the society wants to remove that from you.
Absolutely. I actually saw a video a few months ago where a helicopter in the sky, there was a helicopter in the sky. I don't know if it was a military helicopter. I can't confirm that. But they unleashed like a bunch of flies, like ticks. I don't know what was going on. Why would that happen? Is there an agenda? Do we know? How would we know? Are they synthetic? Are they surveillance ticks? Are they there to, take our blood or some form of DNA and deliver it back to some GPS kind of controlled system. I mean, you just don't know anymore. You've got to think of everything, you know?
That's a deep rabbit hole.
I know. Yeah. And who knows? I mean, it's possible, you know? Um, who knows? So are you saying that Solaris has the capability of restoring your own DNA?
Well, yeah, what it's going to do is going to support your body's ability to find its roadmap and get the original DNA back in place, because your body repairs every second. Your DNA is being repaired continuously.
Mm-hmm.
And so the younger you are, the more efficient you are at repairing it. The older you are, the more air you breathe of all these nanoparticles that are also part of the technology and also part of the low tech, the tire dust and the brake dust and the stuff that they're spraying above us, whatever that stuff is, things that are in the water you drink, things that are in the food, any kind of modified organisms like genetically modified foods are definitely an attack on your DNA repair mechanism. Any of these injections. So the point is autonomy. In order to stay healthy, you've got to be able to combat against these and neutralize all these insults, these attacks against your DNA. And it's your job to do it. And people like, why is iodine not known about all over the world for every single human being right now? Because your entire body requires iodine every single day to have high level communication and body intelligence. But everybody just puts it on cuts. Or they say, oh, you got to be careful how you take the iodine. Well, when you have low dose in its pure form, it works for everybody. Right. And it's going to supply information to every cell. People say, oh, but your thyroid. The thyroid is being so damaged because that's part of your endocrine system that people go hyper or hypo, or they have these fancy names, and they say, well, you can't have iodine. Wow. That's the biggest lie ever, because your body needs it. Your thyroid needs iodide. And when the iodine goes in your body and reacts with all these pathogenic things, it converts into iodide in its pure form and fuels the thyroid. But the problem is the thyroid gets plugged with halogens. The receptor sites are plugged up. The iodine and the solaris clean it out. So now you can get the fuel to your most important system, which is your endocrine system. You think about your hormonal production and how that's your body intelligence on steroids, plus your brain function. So if they're going to dumb everybody down so they don't care, oh, it doesn't really matter, it's okay. You know, they put 5G cell towers outside my house. It's just fine. They wouldn't do something that would hurt us, would they? Meanwhile, all the heavy metals in your body are reacting with those, whatever other technologies they've had get into your system through what they're spraying in the air, through these stupid ticks or whatever it is. We can't figure it out. Mm-hmm. What we can do is we can give our body the ability to find its way again, mm-hmm. and to get rid of these things that are interrupting us. Because you're in your body, I'm in mine, you're in yours, you the watcher are in your body. Your body is your responsibility, whether you like it or not. If you hand that responsibility to the dentist or the doctor or some other practitioner, you're giving your autonomy away. You know, we're all about giving your autonomy back and giving you the tools to do it that are affordable, time, energy, and effort. And speaking of affordability, this is the time of year when everything becomes at a very, very good price. And so we'll talk about that afterwards. But, you know, our goal is not to sell you something. That's what everybody's going to sell, to make money. Our goal is to provide you data. And Nicholas's job is to provide data so you can make intelligent decisions. My job is to provide the tools, the elemental things you need at the core foundation of your being, so your body can make as good decisions. And so you're not wasting your time, energy, effort, and money on things that are not going to deliver at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us, mainstream science says we have 2-strand DNA and the rest is junk DNA, but really we have 12 strands DNA, I believe, which carries a lot of other spiritual, cosmic information about us. You know, this is why we used to have, you know, we used to be telepathic. We used to be able to do a lot of frequency healing. And that's just to name a few. I mean, I'm still learning about this, but I'm hearing that the junk DNA is the most important DNA that we should be aware of, and it's been suppressed. What do you have to tell us about that?
Well, you are the expression. Your body is the expression of you, because you're a soul. You don't have a soul. You are the soul. You have a spirit that keeps your body alive, that keeps the lights on. If something happens traumatically enough to your body, your spirit leaves. The soul is still there, and then the soul is going to step outside the body because it's no longer active, in the physical death. So if your body is slowly dying, that has a dynamic effect upon your being, and your being is looking to have that body match its original. So when the sperm fertilized the egg in your mother's womb, that spark of life was the soul that was entering into that egg and expressing you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you slowly express over that 9 months, you come out in the world, and then you're assaulted from then on, right? At every given turn. There's really nothing much natural about the world we're born into these days.
Yeah.
So that's going to dynamically affect your spiritual belief. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What are you doing? Where are you going? What's your mission? What are you doing here? You're super important, but you may have forgotten that. Or maybe you think you're a little tiny speck in the middle of a massive universe and it doesn't really matter. But no, you matter 100%. So this whole dumbing down, like you're talking about the spiritual aspects of your thinking, the words you speak, right? Your beliefs are all deeply tied into DNA. And if you're in your being a self, the soul, if you have an eternal seed gene in there that has always existed and always will exist, that is the anchor. That's the thing that holds. And it's going to be attacked and trying to be harvested on the peripheral edge. But you yourself actually can never be altered per se.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you came from that resource, you're going to go back to that resource. If you were a created being, an NPC, then you still have a function. But I don't know. If you believe you're just an NPC, you're doing violence to your own soul. Right? Each person here believes that they are coming from a divine source, a resource, and they're going back there somehow. And we're going through this this maze of learning as we go. So it's important to have the tools to tune you in. You talked about frequency.
Mm-hmm.
If you're tuned into the wrong frequency, you're going to believe the lies.
Sure.
If you're tuned into the right frequency, you're going to be shown the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's going to superscript and overwrite the lies. Mm-hmm. And that's being woken up. And this is an age where people are waking up en masse. But when I say en masse, it's millions, it's not billions.
Absolutely.
Like 1 million people is 1/80th of 1% of the world population.
And I believe NPCs wouldn't even, NPCs, which I call them empty vessels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They are matrix architecture to keep us out of place, to stop us from awakening. I don't think they question their reality because they don't have true self-awareness to even ask, why am I here? What's my mission? And many of them, when you ask, do you believe, do you feel something? A lot of them are atheists. They think they die and that's it. And to them, no, but that is the truth for them. Right? Because that's true. They don't feel anything, and it's not that we're being horrible to them. It's they never existed in the first place. Unfortunately, one of the hardest truths to learn is that not everyone is real. This is part of the illusion, part of the control grid. But absolutely, DNA is very important, and I think we need to protect it. We need to detox it, and we need to. Our purpose is to find inner peace and to remember that we are source awareness in form. And I believe that with what you're doing, Ian, you're able to help us navigate with our immune system that leads us with the roadmap that you were saying that would restore our DNA so that it's at the highest level, because we are being attacked constantly with EMFs and everything else around us, processed foods and the obvious things. Why don't you tell us, you're doing you're doing something really great today, because, like you said, we're not here to make money. We're not here to sell. We're here to share data. We're here to spread information. We're here to give the truth because we've been lied to so much. But also, you're doing something something really great to make it very easy and affordable for the viewers to have access to iodine, Solaris, etc. Could you tell us what are you doing? What's special today that you're doing for the viewers?
Well, we're offering a very special coupon, and it's thankful. If they put in thankful, they get a very significant discount at this time of year. And before we get into that, can I drop one bomb?
Please.
This is something I've never said publicly. This will be the first time. So this is like a timestamp. This has nothing to do with the special things and the products from activation at this moment. And I just wanted to catch it because just the continuity of your conversation, you talked about the matrix at the beginning. Okay. So about 4 weeks ago, I got this significant download that is actually so obvious. I don't know how I didn't see it for years and years. Mm. And it wasn't in the form of someone speaking to me or anything like that. It was being shown to me through thoughts and correlating words. And the word matrix is at the core of this. Now, everybody, when they hear the word matrix, they think about the movie, the red pill, the blue pill, right? That's what they're thinking about. And Neo, and he's in that kind of a womb, and he comes out of that fluid, and he's got all these umbilical cords attached to him, and they all unplug, and right, and he's coming through this whole thing. That has to do with the womb of a woman, as it turns out, because I did some research on it. That's really was like the new birth. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you go into the Bible, in the original texts, in the English language, there's 5 times where matrix is in the Old Testament. It's never mentioned in the New Testament, using different wording. But the word matrix is specifically talking about only one thing, and that is the womb of a female human or a female animal. All life on this earth, in the mammal world, 99.9%, is going in, the seed is planted in through the vagina into the womb, and then the birth, that new baby, is coming out of the womb through the vagina onto the earth. Mm-hmm. That is the most sacred thing on earth. And that's called the matrix in the Bible. Okay, now, what protects the matrix? Well, the bonds of what they call holy matrimony. So a man and a woman have an agreement, a covenant. They stand before God and they say, only for you, only for me, this is it. We're not going to deviate outside of this. We are mates for life. And under the bonds of holy matrimony, matrimony, matrix, matrimony. What is a mother called? The matriarch, the matrix arc. Okay. Mm-hmm. What does a man and woman sleep on? A mattress. So where did all these names come from? They call mothers Ma. Hey, Ma, M-A. Okay. So this sacred part, this is the most sacred thing on earth, especially a woman's matrix, right? That is the sacred vessel because men don't have babies, women do. Men plant the seed in there, women have the babies. They need to be protected and honored, not preyed upon. These predatorial things of that part of a woman's body is absolutely defiling the most sacred thing out there when it's outside of the bond of an agreement where they're protected. They're not going to be available to any other man. And that man's not going to be available to any other woman. It's under matrimony. Mm-hmm. And marriage was the thing that was attacked. Divorces are so common, it's crazy. So the attack is against the women. That's where I see the big attack on this earth. And women use that part of their body to gain advantage, and men try to control that part of a woman's body to gain advantage when it's not supposed to be at all that way. These are sacred gifts that are given to a man and a woman, and that protects families. What blows families apart? Sexual deviancy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what blows the family apart. What holds the family together? Sexual purity, like virgins to each other. And everybody has to lose their virginity when they're young. Oh man, you're still a virgin. What's wrong with you? Hold it. That's like the most valuable thing you've got in your physical being is your virginity. You keep that with your mate throughout your life because under those bonds, it's the most sacred thing ever. Sexual intercourse. It's sacred. It's not wrong. But as soon as you go outside of that, you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt other people and do major damage. And then that mixes up. What does it mix up, Nicholas? Mixes up the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
That you keep your pure DNA within your marriage, your matrimony, your matrix. The matrix is protected. No other seeds are allowed to go in there. No other hybridization. That was the first hybridization that was ever allowed. And I know this is a very big nuclear bomb, okay? But this was shown to me just 4 weeks ago. And I thought, wow, I should have been told this when I was 14 years old when I was hitting puberty. What a difference it would have been made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have realized how sacred it is. It's not to be exploited, not to be chased after, right? Just to be protected. Yet the whole world flipped it on its head. So that was really the problems right from the beginning. And then all the way through the ages, it's just constant mixing of the DNA, which is hurting us. I mean, people can say, oh, well, it's just recreational. It's just pleasure. What are you talking about? Well, go for it. If that's what you want to do, that's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for your body. I'm responsible for mine. And so we want to get back to our original DNA, clean up all the noise, clean up all the mess, keep the purity. And then everything we consume is affecting us. So activation is really all about going back to its original purity and sanctity. Sanctification means separation from that which is harmful to you. And people think, well, I can't not have that pleasure. Well, that pleasure is going to be damaging you if it's incorrectly used. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do with that? That's a truth bomb. And I might lose massive popularity from speaking about this, but this was given to me. And this is the first time in public I've ever shared it with you, Nicholas.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And my viewers love that because there's a lot of truth to what you said, you know. And the other thing that came to my mind when you were saying this is that divine women are more intuitive than men. The feminine energy, you know, the feminine divine. They are more intuitive than men are. And this is why there's a big political agenda with suppressing, making women more masculine with this.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to shut it off. And again, what you said with life, you know, and the Matrix, the movie, and the womb. And it's very, very interesting. And it really does resonate with me. But yeah, did you want to tell us about the offer that you're offering today with the viewers, for the viewers?
Yeah, well, so this is the time of year when you get for whatever reason, it's November and everybody does this. And so we always want to make sure that people can take advantage of, you know, getting the products that are the most essential, not wasting their money on everything that's out there. There's a million shiny objects right now that are in the health space. And they're designed to suck your resources out of your life. And that is because you're going to spend the time, energy, effort, and money in the wrong place. So you're investing in yourself. You want to invest wisely. So when you put in the word thankful, you're going to get a 30% discount. And also keep an eye for, once you go to theactivationproducts.com, and Nick, you have your links for this, and you have your very specific coupon code, which is thankful, that's tied directly so that your mission can be supported as well, because we work together to support each other. And there's all the energy from everybody combined to be able to further the expansion of these very important golden nuggets of wisdom, and also the elemental things that your body has to have. And if the society can keep you from getting those essential elements at the core of your foundation, then they know that your foundation is weak, and eventually the house will fall apart, right? And the sooner the house falls apart, the more money it costs to repair it if you have to go to the medical or dental establishments. So we're all about having perfect dental health and perfect physical health. And we're here to deliver that at the highest level possible. And so just this time of year where you can get some very special pricing. So definitely make sure you're tapping into the links and also the coupon code. And this is that time to stock up on these things for the year ahead on the most important things. So you have that core taken care of.
Absolutely. Ian, thank you very much for sharing everything with us today. The links will all be below. Click on the links, have a look. And also, please let us know what you think as well in the comments below. And share this with your friends and family. We spoke a lot of interesting things here about DNA as well. And it's time for people to start becoming aware of the world that we're living in so that, we can collapse the illusion together. But Ian, thank you. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care and God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless.